Hello and welcome back. I don't really know how to start this. It's been about
Starting over.
it's been about 2 years. If you don't know us, I'm Isaiah. This is Tyler.
Welcome,
Dolphins,
Tyler.
and he's not a Bills fan. He just likes Stephon Diggs. Browns fan. Browns fan. Yeah,
He was on my fantasy team.
yeah,
That's why.
yeah. But who drafted him? Who drafted him for you?
Hmm. Hmm.
Wow, while you went the
We can
Halloween
talk
horn.
about that.
Okay. Anyway, yeah. If you are newer to the channel, you might know me because I make all the edits. Hooray. Um so yeah, we're kind of restarting and we're not going to get too long with this intro. We're already a minute in. We are going to be doing our NFL hot takes for like the last month. We have been compiling hot takes that we have,
Hmm.
and I have them saved on my phone. Starting off with one that we actually both agreed on, the Jets missing the playoffs. Oh my gosh, what is the
Yeah.
Jets hype about?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, like the thing is they're kind of like the new Denver Broncos in a way with Russell Wilson. They get a brand new quarterback. This brand new quarterback isn't going to change the system completely. It's like this is still the same team just because they had one new player. I feel like Aaron Rodgers, he's going to take a huge step down than what he has been the past few years. I don't feel like he's going to be the same.
Yeah, it's
And
definitely putting a quarterback in a brand new system, like he's not gonna adapt immediately. Like I like Garrett Wilson, but other than Garrett Wilson, what's he throwing to? What, 50-year-old Randall Cobb? Like who else is
yeah,
he
they
throwing
lost
to?
Elijah Moore that year as well, this year.
Yeah. I like the defense too, but like once again, it's mostly just a bunch of star players. But like after you get from Sauce Gardner and Quentin Williams, like who else are you really putting on?
Hmm. Yeah, I feel like, and especially you got to consider the division is also like looking really good this year. I mean, you have teams like Miami Dolphins making big additions, like Jalen Ramsey. You have the Bills, who have like past few years have been solid, and even the New England Patriots could possibly get like DeAndre Hopkins this year, and we're looking at some
You know,
other big additions that they're adding.
and we know that the Patriots always have a good defense because Bill Belichick is the greatest defensive mind in all of football.
Is it true that the Patriots just got Devontae Parker? I think it was.
They extended him. They had him last year.
Oh, they had, okay, yeah, extended him.
I didn't really see like the details of the extension, but considering that no one's freaking out about it, it was probably a pretty extension.
Mhm.
All right, so we're gonna move on to the next one. This one actually involves your team, the Browns making the playoffs. Definitely one.
Mhm.
I agree with this one. This team is looking deadly. Honestly, there was a lot of problems last season. Obviously, Deshaun Watson was very rusty. I don't think he's gonna be as bad as he was last season. Combine that with the fact that the bad run game that you guys had last season was heavily improved by adding Dalvin Tomlinson and Darius Smith. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, honestly, you really got to consider this is Deshaun Watson's second year in the system. His first year, he didn't even come in at the beginning of the year, so you got to give him a little bit of a break here. I mean, he came in halfway through the season, and he's had a lot riding on this, a lot of pressure. So, I mean, this year, like expectations are set, and he's going to go in from week one, and he's just going to dominate. And I do see like our division right now is very like good. I mean, we got Bengals and Ravens looking solid, and Steelers.
never have a
But
losing record. they'll
yeah,
still
that's
find a
true.
way.
So
They'll still find a way to go 9-8.
yeah, so they definitely worked around adding Deshaun Watson some pieces. With we got Elijah Moore,
Mm.
um, and added some boost to the defense with Dalvin Tomlinson, like you said. So I mean, honestly, I feel like this team is going to take a huge step up next year. I mean, just see, look at this run stopping defense with Tomlinson and Miles Garrett. Still, I think Miles Garrett definitely the best defensive player in the league right now, and
Plus, we
it's
can't forget you
going
have
to
the
be
best.
unstoppable.
Plus, you can't forget you have the best running back in the league, and Nick Chubb
Yeah.
and Amari Cooper and Denzel Ward is still probably like a top 10 corner. So yeah, there's a
And
lot.
oh yeah, you also got to consider we just got Zadarius Smith as well.
Yeah. And you added Juan Thornhill from the Chiefs. So you take out a
Mhm.
player from the Chiefs who you have to beat to make the Super Bowl, and you add him to your team, make yourself better. Yeah. Overall, amazing offseason for Cleveland. I actually did make a video. I made a video about why the Browns could be an going into this.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, I could honestly see. I don't know if they're gonna make a run for the division. It is gonna be tough. Bengals still are really solid, but
I
I
don't know how
could definitely see them becoming a wild card team this
Yeah,
year.
I don't know how I feel about the Bengals safeties. So you lose Jesse Bates and Von Bell, two really good starters for your team. And Eli
That is
Apple, he
true.
gets all the hate, but he was a starter for the Bengals. So losing him,
Hmm.
it's not like he's like an easily replaceable guy. So they did improve
Right.
the O line. They still have their big three and T. Higgins, Joe Burrow. It's going to be interesting to see how the AFC North.
It will.
All right, next is a hot take that you had: the Broncos bouncing back and making the playoffs. Very
Correct.
one I very much disagree with. And you know how much I was a Broncos supporter. When they had Drew Lock and Teddy Bridgewater, I was saying that they were going to be a playoff team, sure, based off that defense alone. And then I was proven wrong. So let's hear it.
Okay, so first things first, you do got to consider like Russell Wilson, and you. Okay, so I will admit I was like a big Broncos hater like early on in the year or early on past few years because I mean it's just on paper this team doesn't look that good and they didn't really make any big key additions. But honestly, I just feel like Russell Wilson is gonna like prove the haters wrong. I mean, you got to think he like a lot of people are doubting him right now, and this is like a big make or break year for him. If he doesn't like succeed, they could honestly start looking at replacing him. I know it's crazy, Russell Wilson, but if he doesn't have like a solid year, so I feel like he's gonna really knowing going these expectations that people have on him. I feel like he's really going to succeed this year. I mean, okay, so I don't think that what I mean by the Broncos like bouncing back, go crazy. I don't think they're like a Super Bowl contender. I don't think anything like this. But I
Yeah,
really do think that they can make a fair shot at running the playoffs this year. Um, if Russell Wilson bounces back and has a good year, which I honestly have full confidence. I mean, you still got to think this is Russell Wilson we're talking about. Like this was a quarterback who was very dominant just a few years ago. So
yeah.
I think people are starting to forget that.
Yeah, my biggest problem with Russell Wilson is, yeah, you add Sean Payton, who is one of the best offensive minds that they like. Getting Sean Payton is huge. My biggest problem with Russell Wilson is he's what 34 now. He's been playing for so long that some of the things that he does, like he just has bad habits that in his prime he used to be able to pull off. Like he used to be able to do all those things, running outside the pocket, spinning out defenders. He just doesn't have that athleticism anymore. So unless Sean Payton can completely turn him into a system quarterback, just stay in the pocket. They don't have bad weapons. Javante Williams, Jerry Judy.
Javante Williams, yeah, is coming back off his injury, so that's going to be huge
Yeah,
for
Cortland
them.
Sutton. I think they
Jerry
draft.
Judy.
Yeah, they drafted someone. I forgot who, but Broncos fans seem to be excited about him. And they also always have a good defense. I mean, it's borderline, if not top 10 in the league. They don't allow points. So it will be interesting, but I'm a Broncos non-believer.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, personally, I just feel like besides the Chiefs as well, that division isn't very good. I mean, Chargers, I feel like are going to be taking a big step back this year. Austin Eckler, um,
Austin Eckler's due
he's
for regression, to be honest. He's 28, and then
yeah,
running back that's like
mhm,
35.
yeah, and big thing about Austin Eckler is he's going in for or this is his last year under his contract, so we could possibly see him in a different uniform next year.
Also, they still have Brandon Staley. Like
Yeah,
this is one of the worst coached. Like at the top, you have Andy Reid and Sean Payton. At the bottom, you have Josh McDaniels and Brandon Staley, two of like the worst coaches. I don't know how they still have jobs after last season. Like blowing a
yeah.
27-point lead to the Jaguars is like unacceptable.
But going back to the Broncos as well, another thing I want to mention is seem to forget like this defense was really good last year,
Yeah,
and like this defense was locked down. And if you like ignore the offense for right now, and you just specifically look at their defense, like this defense on paper, it's like got Pat Surtain, their
Justin
run stopping
Simmons.
game was solid. Yeah, I mean if their offense picks it up, if Russell Wilson develops better chemistry with Cortland Sutton, Jerry Judy, and Javante Williams, like
There's a reason
we could really
Broncos
see a
game.
good Broncos team.
There's a reason Broncos game sucked to watch last season. You just could not get. There was not scoring happening in a Broncos game. There was
Yeah.
there was very like by both teams. Like you think Broncos, Colts. I mean, neither one of those teams had good offenses last season, but you
Yeah,
think like they both had pretty good defenses. Like the Colts, like this is before all the injuries stacked up, and the Broncos. I mean, multiple games where you would think like if you just had a competent offense, you would win this game. Like even like the Browns offense last season, I think if you put them with the Denver defense, we're looking at like a 11 win there. And
for
the
sure. Yeah,
and
that's
the
what I was.
and the Browns weren't even that good offensively last year, except for Nick Chubb, of course.
Yeah,
All right, moving on. We got probably our most controversial one. Scary Terry is overrated. Everyone talks about how he's underrated, but I don't see the vision. Like once everyone starts calling you underrated, you aren't underrated anymore. But there's also the whole like, what does he do that's special? Like everyone likes to put him in his top 10, but anything he does good, I think there's like three receivers that do better.
yeah. I mean, honestly, I feel this is as well. I have to agree with you. Scary Terry is overrated. I feel like I don't know. It's like he's a good player. I'm not like doubting that. I don't think anything's really there's too much really wrong with him. I just feel like people are putting him above a tier too high. I don't think he's like elite yet. I think he has the ability to be elite. I think he is a decent wide receiver one for the Commanders right now, but I don't feel like people are putting it like I've seen some people compare him to guys like DK Metcalf, like putting him in the same tier level players that are like Stephon Diggs or Jamar Chase, guys like these who are clearly, in my opinion, a way step higher than Terry McLaurin.
Speaking of Stephon Diggs, our next take, it's from you. Stephon Diggs will be not a top 7 fantasy football wide receiver. I think that's a bit of a
Yeah.
crazy take considering the connection him and Diggs have had. Him and Allen have had. I mean, every year they've been in the league, they've been together. It's just been absolute dominance from that duo, and it was great last season. Even with all the things that happened in Buffalo, like there was collapsing happening in Buffalo towards the end of the season. But Diggs continued to put up numbers, so I'm interested to hear your side of this argument.
Yeah. Okay. So you got to hear me out here. So you got to think that let's just look at the division right now, just as a division. Their secondaries have improved a ton. We got we got
Jalen
Jalen
Ramsey,
Ramsey. I went to the Dolphins. And you got to look. I mean, they have X, and also look at the Patriots with J.C. Jackson. Like, these are some good
JC
secondaries
Jackson isn't
that
on the
I
Patriots anymore. I think I should point that out. He left
oh
like
oh
2 years ago. He played for the
oh
Chargers, tore his ACL.
oh, never mind then.
No, but yeah,
Yeah,
back to
still,
what you
I
were
feel like
saying. The Patriots always have good corners, and they just
yeah,
drafted one in the first round, Christian Gonzalez.
yeah. So I mean, I feel like their secondaries are going to be really good this year. And honestly, like Stephon Diggs, I feel like he hasn't really had like he's kind of gone. I've seen some like arguments like on Twitter and whatever about like hearing that he's just not on the same page with Josh Allen like he has been in previous years. I feel like they've gone some having some issues. But also you got to look at this Bills team that kind of like struggled towards the end of last year. If I'm going to be honest, I
We're
mean
talk. They barely
they
escaped
barely.
Skylar Thompson at home. Um,
Hmm.
they got demolished by the Bengals at home. Um, yeah, you think like most of their wins, like you're looking, most of their wins were coming off really like bad teams. I think their best win, like towards the second half of the year, was the Lions game. Lions were like they had a horrible defense last season, and they barely escaped that game. If Jared Goff doesn't miss a touchdown, they don't win that.
Yeah, so also you gotta think that this team has not only had some like they've been throwing the ball around to other receivers. You look at like Isaiah McKenzie, they've been giving him the ball a lot more. Who was that guy out of UCF? Forgot his
Gabe
name.
Davis, Gabe Davis.
Gabe Davis. That was him. Yeah, Gabe Davis has been getting a lot more passes the past few years. And
They
also
just
they just drafted that rookie tight end
Dalton Kincaid,
who
yeah.
should be yeah, who should definitely be taking some shares away. And also you got Dawson Knox still. And also another thing to mention, this team is starting to rely on their run game a lot more than they have been
James
when Stephon Diggs is putting up crazy numbers.
James Cook and I don't. Oh, they lost single. I don't know. James Cook and Naheem Hines is the duo that they're running with right now. Like,
Yeah,
as
didn't they get
I don't hate James Cook as a running back. I mean, I think he has decent potential, but I just don't think he's.
didn't they get Damian Harris?
They did get Damian Harris, right? I don't like see this running. It's just a decent committee, like, but it's nothing special. The grand scheme of things, you have an actual like superhuman at quarterback and one of the best receivers in the league. I still think that they're gonna lean on that duo a lot.
Yeah, but like regardless of honestly how good the running backs are, I mean last year look at they weren't anything special, James Cook and Singletary, and they were still pounding the ball. They're especially towards the end of the year, they were definitely running the ball a lot more than they have been. Um, so I mean honestly, even if they just stay the same amount of production that they were last year, they're gonna want to run the ball. They're gonna want to. And this takes away from Stephon Diggs' goal line share. He's not going to get these 2 yard screen passes like he has been. And also, you got to think Josh Allen is a goal line threat as well. I mean, with his legs,
Yeah,
he's dangerous at the goal line. So, I mean, I don't think Stephon Diggs is really going to like fall. I don't think he's going to like become any sort of like wide receiver two or anything. I think he is still on your fantasy team a wide receiver one for sure. But I just don't feel like we can, be drafting him inside the top five, inside top 10. Like I've seen some people
yeah. He's definitely going to like. I'm trying to think on who I think will be better than him. Jefferson, I think, will be a better fantasy. Hill, if Tua stays
for
healthy.
sure.
Devontae Adams, but that's even iffy because I don't know how I feel about Jimmy G. I think AJ Brown
I
will be
still,
better than him in fantasy.
mm-hmm.
Maybe Waddle. Waddle was good in fantasy, but was playing. I guess I could think of 7 guys, but I don't know. All right,
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I feel like we always gonna have that, second year receiver
Garrett
who's
Wilson.
gonna break out.
Garrett
Yeah, that's
Wilson.
what I was just thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could honestly see Garrett Wilson having a better season than Stephon Diggs this year.
Yeah, I could see it, but I think it's gonna take time for him and Rogers to build up a connection. You think like Devontae Adams didn't really pick up steam until his like third season with Rogers. It takes Rogers
Hmm.
time. I don't think it's gonna take as long because you think when Devontae was a rookie, they still had Jordy Nelson. I mean, Garrett Wilson is that wide receiver one on that offense. So, but I think it could take like 4 weeks before they actually have like I'm thinking like you won't see a Garrett Wilson 20-point game till like week 4 maybe, but he'll definitely be.
Yeah, one thing that is going to be interesting is Rogers heavily pushed for Alan Lazard to join that team. So
And
now that
Randall
he is a part of
Cobb,
them,
and
and
Randall.
Randall Cobb. So
Yeah,
it'll be interesting to see how like he wants to, split up the passes between the guys.
and you got to think Brees Hall is also still in that backfield, so
That is
he
true.
he is
So
not out of the picture. We're assuming he's coming back and not being complete and not.
speaking of Brees Hall, I think he's in for a huge year this year.
I could see it. Yeah, he was. I still remember when he tore up the Dolphins. He made Zach Wilson look like a good QB because this man. I don't know what got into him that day, but he had like 250 yards and 3 touchdowns against us. Receiving and like he's a receiving back. Definitely wanted. I would take the chance on him. Like we saw ETN, he fell and was a top like 10 fantasy running back last season, even though he was hurt his rookie season. I think Brees Hall is worth that because I think Brees Hall is a better player than ETN. So yeah, I could
Yeah,
definitely.
I'm not sure if this is necessarily a hot take, but I honestly see Brees Hall having a better season than the Falcons running back. They just
Bijan,
got
Bijan.
Bijan Robinson.
I
I
don't.
honestly see him having a better season than him.
I don't know how I feel. I know you're not the biggest fan of drafting Bijan Robinson first round.
Mm-mm.
The thing is about running backs though is that they peak so early that drafting them in the first round usually doesn't. Like you think Najee Harris was a top 10 fantasy running. Peak was like the best fantasy running back his rookie year.
Mhm.
Le'Veon Bell had a crazy rookie season. Amara, like all these good running backs that are considered washed now were incredible their rookie season. And I think Bijan, especially you're talking an offense that was run first last season, and they have a top 10 line in the league. They were really good last season. My only fear is how much of Algier is going to take that. But they had, I see Bijan being such a focal point in that offense. I don't trust Ritter. I don't think they're going to be trying to. There's a reason they drafted him instead of building around, instead of like getting Ritter like a receiver. I think they don't trust him enough to get like if they wanted to draft JSN. They could have drafted JSN, and I would have liked that pick a lot more. But they went Bijan, so I think he will. I think he will be the focal point of that offense, and I think he will still be. I think he'll be a top 5 fantasy running back.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, my point with Bijan is the same thing you mentioned with Tyler Algier. I just can't trust their workload. I don't, and I get that you're saying I'm not doubting that he's going to be the RB1 in that offense. I know for sure with where they drafted him, they're going to need him as the RB1. But I just feel like even if you see, even if you see Tyler Algier getting like 30%, 40% of these carries, then honestly, you're looking at like you're not looking at Bijan being this powerhouse back that's getting 80% of the carries like Derrick Henry or an Austin Eckler, who
Yeah,
I could honestly see having better seasons just for the fact that they're getting more carries, they're getting more opportunity. And you also got to consider that this Falcons offense was not very good last year.
yeah, but
Um,
they had a top 5 running off, the passing off.
yeah.
I don't know.
And also you got to think, I mean, what's
They
Cordell Patterson's,
so I've
situation this
I've
year?
I've heard that the Cowboys are interested in him actually. I
Really?
heard that they might make a trade for him. I think
That's
that's
interesting.
I think that should yeah, it's gonna we need Cordell Patterson is definitely someone to watch for because I refuse to believe the Falcons keep him. I mean,
I don't, he's an RB3 right now. It's not happening.
I guess he could be a special teamer, but he's not a bad running back. He's like I could see the Cowboys taking him. Like he could definitely fit in that offense as the RB2 behind Pollard.
Last year, he felt more as a wide receiver, honestly.
Pollard or Patterson?
Patterson,
Patterson, yeah. Honest, but yeah, it's not like
not Pollard.
yeah.
Pollard was a
Pollard was both, honestly. He
yeah, that's true. I think Zeke was more the powerhouse in that offense, and Pollard was more the Austin Eckler type.
Yeah, Pollard could be a really good fantasy player though because now Zeke isn't there to take his 1 yard carries.
I mean, for now, we don't. Zeke is looking at possibly joining the Cowboys again, running
Yeah,
back.
yeah. Well, I mean, we're talking really early. If you're drafting your fantasy team in June,
I don't know why.
yeah,
That's kind of
you're
crazy.
setting yourself up for failure. Someone's gonna get hurt at training
Um,
camp.
mm,
It's just,
It
you're
happens every year.
yeah,
Every year.
you're setting yourself up for failure. All right, moving on. A bit of a biased hot take on my thing. I think the Dolphins win the AFC, and there's a lot of reasons. This is
Mhm.
assuming Tua stays healthy. Okay, if he doesn't, no, we don't win it. But assuming Tua stays healthy and Tyreek Hill doesn't receive a suspension for smacking the guy allegedly,
Uh,
where we're okay. Let me go down with it. We're looking at a team that could potentially have a top 5 offense and a top 10 defense. Okay, the Dolphins were the 6th best offense in the league last year, despite missing Tua for 6 games, and we already know what they can do. They added Tyreek Hill. I mean, not added. They we know what Tyreek Hill and Waddle can do. They are looking at Dalvin Cook, who is still a top 20 running back in the league. Might not be exactly where he was before, but better than anyone the Dolphins have. And then the defensive side, they add David Long, who's a pretty good linebacker. They add Jalen Ramsey, who's an all-pro cornerback. Already having Xavier Howard, they add Vic Fangio, who is an incredible defensive coordinator. And then you take into account that they have Bradley Chubb and Jalen Phillips off the edge. And then looking at the rest of their division, you have the Jets. You have the Jets who still have a poor O line. We don't know how Rodgers is gonna play there. And the defense has its weaknesses. And then the Bills are just on a steady decline and their team is old. They're relying on 30 plus year old safeties and a 35-year-old Von Miller coming off an ACL tear to carry this defense. Tre'Davious White wasn't good last season, and the Patriots. I don't think I have to explain why I think they're better than the Patriots.
yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm kind of indifferent about this opinion. It is really going to depend on Tua if he stays healthy or not. Last year with all those concussion issues, we don't honestly know how Tua is going to come back, whether he's going to come back
I saw him.
100%, whether he's going to come back.
I saw him hit a home run a couple days. I saw him hit a home run today.
That's cool. But talking NFL, like being put in like these high pressure situations, we just don't know. We don't know. Could he pull like a Jameis Winston where he's throwing 50 touchdowns, 50 interceptions, or 40-40, whatever.
It was 30.
Um, 30-30, yeah. Either way, I just we're gonna need to see, how he's gonna come back this year. But I do agree with you in the fact that like their team is looking really good this year with these key additions that they just added, and they already have a stacked team. I think Tyreek Hill will get away with his issues just fine,
Yeah,
and I think he's gonna come
he's pretty
back.
good at it. Not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Have you seen some of the things? Have you seen like yeah? I don't know how, but
Hmm.
he continues to get away with these types of. They're all like minor things. It's not like the Deshaun Watson level, but like yeah. All right, and for the final
Speaking of
take,
Deshaun Watson, I like your profile picture.
what does Deshaun Watson have anything to do with my profile picture? That's Tua and Bam Adebayo.
Oh, looks like Deshaun Watson. I'm not
it's,
gonna lie.
it's not Deshaun Watson. I don't know. I just found a random
That's my
picture.
profile picture.
What?
That's all I'm gonna make my profile picture. Honestly, I feel like Deshaun Watson's gonna have a crazy year this year. All right,
I think
continue.
he can. I think a top 10 quarterback year is not too much to ask for a guy who was top five at one point, not even too
Hmm.
long ago. Like
He's still young. You gotta keep that in mind.
in that season, we're getting really off here. In that season, even in his last season in Houston, where he was working with an injured Will Fuller and D Hop just got traded, he still led the league in passing yards, still had incredible production despite having actually no help there. And I think that was where I remember a lot of people were writing off Deshaun Watson because he couldn't win. But if you actually watch Texans games, he was anything but the problem. So yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Finally, for the
Next.
final hot take, my hot take, probably the hottest one. I'm a big Jordan Love fan. I think he will be the Packers franchise quarterback.
Mm,
I know there's a lot to say about that. There's barely any sample size, but I watched a Jordan Love film breakdown, and he actually showed like good stuff. He was thrown in like completely unprepared in both of his games. I mean, the Chiefs game, he was given like a 3 day heads up because Rogers had like the whole like COVID thing, and he was just told, "Hey, you're gonna play what was like the best team in the league with like no first team rep practices." So obviously he was gonna struggle a bit, but he was showing like decent like progression through his read. And then we saw him against the Eagles once again having no chance to prepare. Rodgers just goes down with I forgot what it was. It was some sort of hand injury, and he does throw like he was still showing stuff. I know it wasn't really much, but he showed an ability to progress reads, throw decent passes, and he was sitting behind Aaron Rodgers for 3 seasons. So that's got to be worth something. Going and they extended him, so I think they do see something in him to at least, give him a $20 million extension to make sure that he could stay for one more year.
yeah. I mean, honestly, I don't really see it that much just because I think he's not going to be bad this year. I don't think he's going to be bad for the next few years, and he is still young, and he does have the fact that he did get to sit behind one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, Aaron Rodgers, for a few years. But you know, you look at like other quarterbacks around his age who are already getting all these like who are already getting this experience in, who are already like starting,
I mean,
getting put into these
we
tough
look
situations.
look at his draft class. Like, look at the guys he's going to compare: Herbert, Burrow, Jalen Hurts, and even Tua. Like, all these guys are like top 15 quarterbacks in the league right now.
Hmm.
And if you just want to take the top guys, that's like debatably all top five quarterbacks right there with Jalen Hurts, Joe Burrow, and just
Hmm. Yeah, so you look at these other quarterbacks like that. I mean, look at Jalen Hurts. Dude almost won a Super Bowl last year.
Burrow
So
almost won
when
a
you
Super
compare
Bowl.
Burrow
Herbert
almost won a Super Bowl last
Herbert
year.
is like one of the most talented quarterbacks. It just sucks that he
Mhm.
plays for one of the most dysfunctional franchises. Man,
Yeah, so I
he could
mean,
have been a Dolphin. Imagine what could have been.
saying a guy like Jordan Love out of all these other quarterbacks, is gonna be a franchise quarterback for this team. That's assuming that he's gonna be playing for 10 plus years without any serious injuries, and it's tough to judge this early in his career what really
Obvious.
is going to turn out with him. I think I really am going to need to see like a full year in the system
Yeah.
him here before I really can really
I'm
decide
much
on
like
that.
higher on the Packers. I'm not saying like they're a playoff team next year. I'm thinking like they can win 8 to 9 games. Maybe sneak in as a seventh seed. That's like a big maybe. Because I think they're getting way too slept on. I've been hearing all like every other team in that division gets a lot of hype. You got the Vikings. They have Justin Jefferson, the most likable player in the league. The Lions are like everyone likes the Lions. I mean, they have a great offense. They improve that defense. And then you got the Bears who have Justin Fields, who is just loved by the media. I mean, we saw that video of Bears fans commenting about Justin Fields. Like, they love him. And a lot of the NFL loves him because he puts on these highlight reel level plays. He's kind of, I think he's more like Vic than Lamar was like Vic, honestly. I mean,
Yeah, no,
he's a lot more highlight based, but consistency is a big problem with him. And I don't think the Packers are the worst team. I mean, they still have probably the best defense in this division. I mean, the Vikings might have a historically bad defense. I mean, we're talking they were a bottom five defense and lost half of their starters. And then
yeah, they should.
The Lions have a bad defense. They improved it, but it's not going to be instantly better. And the Bears, although they improved it, I still don't understand why they didn't draft Jalen Carter, which I think, honestly, when he fell to you at 9.
Yeah, I mean, the Vikings definitely showed how bad their defense is in the last playoff game
They
against the
got they
Colts.
got
That was
Daniel Jones the 40
crazy.
they got Daniel Jones the $40 million contract.
Yeah.
I mean, if Daniel Jones doesn't win that playoff game, I think we're crossing off 10 mil off that contract right there.
hmm but another thing we gotta talk with about Jordan Love is he's got a I mean, did you see that? This is kind of just something that's funny. Did you see his comment he made about the Bears?
Yeah, I did. He said Happy Father's Day. So he already is hated by the entire city of Chicago. Like
hmm
without even playing them, and you already know that if the Bears beat the Packers, the edits are gonna go crazy. It is going
I
to
mean,
be
that's honest.
you've set yourself up to get clowned if you do that without like it's one thing when Roger says I still own you after beating the Bears 20 times, but like when Jordan Love says it, it's just like he just hasn't earned that.
Yeah, I mean that's a good way to get like 5 plus, targeting calls.
that,
That's
that
a good way for
that's a
teams
way
to really play
that's a way to
dirty against you.
yeah, that's a way to get booed by the Bears fans when you step on the field. Maybe get some DMs.
hmm
Maybe get some DMs on Instagram.
Some.
Some. I know Bears fans have like a very
Mhm.
vocal fan base. Like they are very they are very loyal to their team. Like if you ask a Bears fan what their
Uh,
record's gonna be, they might say 17. Well, I'm not joking. You
yeah, all I'm gonna say about Jordan Love is he better sweep the Bears this year.
know?
He
Yeah.
better sweep the
For
Bears.
for
If he
his
doesn't sweep the Bears, it is gonna be bad.
it is going to be bad. The edits are gonna be horrible. He is going to get out. Bro, the meme pages, like he is going to be he's gonna be a target. And I'm gonna be all like
hmm
I want to see him succeed, but I'm gonna be all in for it when if he loses to the Bears and that ends up happening. If he does sweep the Bears though, then everyone's gonna look back at that and he knew something. Yeah. All right. Well, that's all of the hot takes. We are 33 minutes in. Not feel like 33 minutes.
No.
You got anything else to add?
I mean, not really. I mean, that's just kind of my observation so far this year. You got to keep in mind it is still early in training camp. We are going to get some new like reports with certain players doing better than others, certain teams looking better. So I mean, it is still early, so we got to keep that in mind. But I think we're in for a good season this year.
Yeah, we're definitely yeah. What you could look forward to more on this channel, just to get a general idea. We want to do like fantasy football things before the season starts. You know, invite who are like our favorite like steals. Like as of now, Dalvin
hmm
Cook's going to the 7th round. I know he's not on a team yet, but like
It's crazy,
if he stays
crazy.
at that projection, I mean that is an absolute steal. And then yeah, we're gonna talk about just the weeks as they go by. But yeah,
Yeah, we got Michael Thomas. Michael Thomas is an interesting story we'll get into.
yeah. Bro, have you seen all those videos of
Um,
people being like, bro died but came back before Michael Thomas did?
yeah,
I
Damar
saw,
Hamlin.
I saw this video. It was like a Seahawks player getting carried off a stretcher, and someone captioned it. Someone put a caption:
Yeah.
Michael Thomas after Derek Carr gives him a fist bump for making a good play.
hmm
So yeah,
Another thing I do want to show you guys is my hold on, let's see it in here. This is my fantasy football championship ring this year.
Oh, so you did get a ring.
Elite came in this nice
Uh,
box.
but who drafted you that team? Who drafted you the team? Who drafted you the team? Come on.
So it was a really good effort, combined effort between
Really good.
me and Isaiah.
Yeah, well, it was a great combined effort.
To be fair, okay, you gotta keep in mind though. I mean, I did manage this team.
Yeah,
I did make
I
it
know.
week to week last year's
I'm messing with you, but yeah.
free agent acquisitions. I've
Mhm.
made some big ones that year.
Who was
So,
that really good player that you scooped up? I forgot. There was like some player that got
um,
dropped. Like it was like some miracle that you picked him up off the wave.
I know what you mean.
Was it Cortland Sutton, right? Was it?
No, 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 no.
No, it was Pittman.
No,
It was
you
Pittman who.
drafted him,
It was Pittman
Michael
who.
Pittman.
It was
Michael
Pittman.
Pittman. Yep.
It was Pittman
Don't
who.
know how he was on the waivers. Don't know why I was playing with people.
Yeah.
Whatever. It's gonna be a good year this year though.
Josh Allen went first in that
I'm
league.
looking to get some revenge. Looking to get some revenge. Also, I did get first place, regardless of what anyone says. I did win that league. I count it as a win.
Yeah, he kind of got robbed from the DeMar Hamlin incident. Cause
Yeah, but I was like 5 points under, and I had Joe Mixon, Stephon Diggs,
and Tyler Bass.
and Tyler Bass still playing. So I was gonna win. I won that league.
Did the other guy also get a ring though?
He got to keep the belt.
Oh yeah, there was a yeah. Next year you'll get the belt probably. All
For
right,
sure.
all right. Well, that's gonna be all. Hope you all enjoyed. Like, subscribe, and be able to see you in the next one. Peace out.